Hi, this is John Ondo from Marketing, Media, and Cupcakes. And before we get into today's episode, I just want to say thank you so much for listening. We're back after being gone for over 4.5 years. And I hope you get a chance to listen to episode 77, where we explain why we were gone for so long and that we're back for at least 3 more episodes. Angel and I are big supporters of entrepreneurship, and we love small businesses and faith-based businesses. And we just want to encourage you through our podcast each week. What's going to determine if we continue with more episodes will be the response. Subscribe to us on your platform. Send us an email at john@ondomedia.com. That would help us know you're listening and you want more episodes. So thank you so much, and let's get into today's episode.
This is the small business podcast that is sweeter than all the rest. Marketing, media, and cupcakes.
This is John Ondo, along with my beautiful wife, Angel.
Hi there.
She has a cupcake business that she runs out of her home, and she's a customer service pro for many, many years. And I am a filmmaker and media consultant, and that's why we're Marketing, Media, and Cupcakes. And we love small business. We love encouraging small business.
Yes.
So a couple of days ago, we're coming to you from beautiful Columbus, Ohio. Mm-hmm. We had the Memorial Tournament this past weekend, which means I'm just a geek about this stuff.
Yes, he is.
The Goodyear blimp was in town.
I saw that.
Yes.
So with us is Rob Yanok.
Hi, everybody.
Rob's been with us before, so the Goodyear blimp was departing Columbus. It was Monday morning. And it's the new blimp. There's new blimps now. They're not the old blimps from the 60s and 70s. These things haul. They've got the things. Anyway, it was flying, and the only thing I can ever think of is, of course, the line from, I believe it was Airplane 2, where it's like, the blimp the blimp explodes or something like that, and the guy says, "Goodyear, no, it was the worst." That long story to bring us back to 2020. Goodyear, no, it's the worst. And that's kind of what we kind of think of here with with this year. So Rob was with us at the beginning of the COVID crisis.
Right at the beginning.
I was.
We had a couple of shows we did. We did one we talked about fear back when we were talking about fear at the beginning of the year.
Way long ago.
And then we talked about how we were talking with our kids about, what's going on with our businesses and finances. Yep. So, I thought this will be good as we're kind of getting into the fall, and there's a lot of fear building back up. Are we going to, I've already given up. We're not going to have any college football. I think it's all going to get canceled. It's heartbreaking.
Baseball season starts.
Baseball's going to be here for a little bit. Maybe that'll work out for a little bit. And, but Rob, where are you at since we last talked? Because obviously this was hitting you hard. You have sales as a big part of what you do. Yep. You're a speaker. You're an author. And then you also have a sales thing that you do, and you were struggling at the beginning of this because you couldn't meet with people.
Yeah, it was tough, but I had just learned. So I just honed in on my craft of sales, and learned to do a lot of this stuff over the phone, and was just leading the way. And then we hit a slump the last few months, but the last few weeks we have just for some reason shifted. Mm-hmm. I did 3 of them today.
That's awesome.
So closed in on 3 people that wanted to get everything taken care of. I just learned not to freak out in those down times. And with the family and with the kids, you just communicate.
You mentioned a couple times here, shift and adapt. And we have talked about here with my Ondo Media business, people in video and communications, the COVID crisis has actually been, I hate to say it's a good thing, but it has not hurt our business. Because people are scrambling to get media and do Zoom meetings and do live streaming for different reasons, and we consult that and do other communications. So this has actually worked out pretty decent for us, and I'm very blessed by that. Your cupcake business took a big hit, but it's starting to come back. And one of the things you mentioned to me the other day I hadn't thought about was, people buying. A lot of times you do almost half of your stuff is sheet cakes and big custom cakes, but one of the things you mentioned is cupcakes are better because you don't have to cut and touch and everything. You can just pick up the cupcake.
Exactly.
So suddenly you've started picking up more cupcake orders, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, since that's the name of the business. But I still again, I'm still doing cakes. It just was all the grad parties started getting canceled or shifted.
Yeah.
But we're going to adapt, because one of
Yes.
the things we said we're going to start doing with our marketing, and I've invested in some more marketing, and we're going to do something with you soon, is to tell people, hey, cupcakes are a better way to do maybe your wedding or your graduation. It's safer. More what's the word everybody uses?
Touchless.
Touchless, and everything like that. I want to encourage people today, and I thought Rob would be great to do this, because, sometimes in the lowest point, and you're the author of The Comeback, but give us the title of the book.
Your Ultimate Comeback.
Your Ultimate Comeback, which I think if that's anything for 2020, everybody's looking for, is the ultimate comeback.
Yep.
Well, I was going to ask you, you mentioned, because if you know Rob for for 10 seconds, you realize there's never anyone that's a stranger to him. He's, engaging, he comes up. But you were saying you were struggling to do your calls and so forth when it switched that you couldn't meet people in person, which I thought was kind of funny, because it's like, it didn't seem like that would be a barrier to you. So what were the things you had to change to adapt to this new thing?
Well,
what did you find that was the hang up?
First of all, I had to get very descriptive and very easygoing and very accepting and trustworthy over the phone, because my appointments were all over the phone. Now, there were some of our advanced planners that were actually doing Zoom calls.
Yeah.
Since we've started all this, all of my clients do not want to do Zoom call. They rather just talk on the phone. Well, there's something that one of my sales managers said to me. He said, there's something about your voice, there's something about your personality that people just are attracted to. Yeah. And he goes, out of this entire company, he said, you're doing what nobody's doing over the phone. Most of these guys are not able to close sales unless they are face-to-face through Zoom,
right,
or FaceTime. And in April, May, in June, I was just closing left and right over the phone, doing everything over the phone. And then I hit a slump, because all of a sudden everybody's like, what's going on with my money? What's happening? We don't know now.
Well, and things started reopening, and that's kind of, everybody kind of thought was going back to normal. Well, let me ask Angel this, because your full-time gig is customer service. You're on the phone with a lot of folks, and if you're taking, you've got some of your big customers, because when you hear that this call's being monitored, that's Angel's kind of job.
I'm the monitor.
And sometimes when there's a big problem with a big client, you get sent in to do things. And
yes, I'm the cleaner.
So yeah, so here, with Rob saying, with doing the voice calls, what are things you have learned that would improve us in those calls when we're talking one-on-one? Because I know you always say, listen, I know was one of the big things you always say.
So again, I think I mentioned these in some of our earlier podcasts, but when you're speaking to anybody, you have to speak with confidence.
Yeah.
If there's a question mark at the end of any statement that you're making, then you don't sound like you know what you're talking about, even if you don't. So that's what I always tell people, even if you have no clue, say it with confidence. Say it with just always, this is the way it is. And don't try to, don't make things up. Don't lie. Just, this is how it is. And I think maybe I'm going to say it, in my age now, in comparison to when I was younger, when I would get flustered, I'm now just extremely transparent and very straightforward with situations versus trying to sugarcoat, because that's what we all, we want the nice, it's like, you know what, here's the real story. Yeah. We made a mistake, and this is what I'm going to do to fix it. I'm not going to labor over the mistake. I'm not going to go, we're just going to fix it. And this is how I'm going to fix it. So
what's your reaction to Rob saying that he's had better, I would say luck, but he's had more success with phone call versus face-to-face? What's your take on that? Because you do all phone call too.
I do phone calls. I mean, we've had lots of meetings where I could have the option to have my screen open and people could see me and I could see others, but I know for me it's distracting. I also know I don't like people looking at me on, just there's something about...
And they don't want you to see their place and see them.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I'm not surprised, especially people that are wanting to do what they, need to talk to you about. Man, I don't necessarily need that face-to-face. And for me, and I've got this compliment, and I can certainly pass it on to Rob, because every time he opens his mouth, I'm just like, well, you can't see my face, but I'm like staring and just like listening because it's extremely engaging. I'm totally 100% bought in. I think you could probably sell me swampland somewhere because I'm totally in. But I get the same thing from people that the tone of my voice, the way I speak, the way I present. I had got feedback a couple of months ago. My manager shared for me from somebody else who I assumed hated me because I was always very straight with situations. And he said, she was like, I got some really interesting feedback. And the short answer was, he said, Angel really knows how to tell it like it is, but she does it in such a nice way.
That's a good thing.
And I just think, again, it's tone of voice and how you approach it.
And then you're being honest too and direct. Like I've had people in my pre-planning, John, with them, when it comes to this one line item of like death certificates, they can pre-order death certificates. Okay. A lot of them will say, well, I need 20 or I need 10. Well, they're $25 a piece.
Yes, they are.
And I'm going, why do you need 10? Well, they start naming things off. I'm like, well, some of those will allow your family to make copies.
It would be great if you could write your own death certificate.
Right. Well,
his plane spun in from 10,000 feet as he saved the child.
Well, and then I tell them, like I had one person last week say, I need 20. I said, you don't need 20. Now, I make a commission.
They make great giveaways at the funeral.
But I make money off of, so you would think that I would want, okay, I'll make sure I put 20 on there.
Yeah.
Nope.
Which is going to, I said, you don't need 20. And I talked him out of it, and I talked him down to 10.
Yeah.
And he was like, so you just saved me money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because I'm not here just to sell you. I'm here to educate you. And when that couple heard that, they're like, well, wait a second. He's seriously trying to help us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It shifts the whole thing.
Yes, it does.
And I'm pretty sure that they were going to be telling me once I got done with the presentation, give us a week to think about it, and you can call us next week,
right?
And we'll no, there was no calling next week. They're like, let's get this taken care of and get this locked in because the price, what I mean?
Yep.
And so it was done. But it wasn't because I was good. It was because I was honest.
Well, and you
100%.
and you were trying to help them.
I was trying to help them.
And I think that's definitely, I say in jest to a lot of my clients, and I've got a new first time meeting with a client Thursday, and I'm sure at some point along the line I will say, I'm not a really good businessman, so I'm probably going to just tell you right now, I'm going to connect you with some people to buy directly from them because I don't want to get in the mix. I'd rather you just buy this stuff directly from them. I could go in and have that company and be the middleman and get some cash off of it, but you know what? That doesn't do anything for me. I just want, I don't want to mess with that.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's again, what I do every day is I fondly refer to myself sometimes as the cleaner, but it's always, hey, Angel, can you help with this? And I go through the thread of email that's like started a week ago and it gets to me. And now it's like, okay, so basically what can you do? And so I'm reaching out directly to a customer saying, here's what the story is, or here's what we can do and fix it.
Yeah.
Because they've already been through the mill trying to get something done. And it's just, here's what happened and here, let's fix it.
So with that, Angel, that we need to be basically peace speakers because we live in a turmoiled age and a turmoil time. There's so much fear, and that's a whole nother podcast, John.
All right.
How can we bring peace? How can we bring calmness to the situations?
The consumer is changing on all, whether you're talking about online services for church, for restaurants.
Yeah.
All of it.
I know we love a particular steak place down the road, and they had a $40 4-meal thing. You go down, you pick it up, you bring it home, everything's there, and I'm like, I would rather enjoy this at the dinner table at home than sit at the restaurant with bad service, perhaps, or everything else. So it's like,
John, people are going to have to think that way.
Yeah.
Businesses, entrepreneurs are going to have to think that way. So I'm trying to finish your ultimate comeback coaching plan. Okay.
Oh, nice.
And then the other day I woke up early in the morning and I'm going, wait a second. Everything's going to be download, digital, videos, audio, PDF, everything. We can probably produce it physically,
right?
Because there's companies out there that will do the videos and audios for me and the workbook and all that stuff. And then I started thinking there's another thing I can do to help businesses and people and pastors and churches and individuals and families. So I wrote a 1-page business plan the other day for the Ultimate Comeback Academy.
There you go.
So we're going to do 10 sessions. I'm going to make it available. We're going to do everything through Zoom.
Yep.
And I've got some of my famous friends that are going to be guests who are going to jump in and surprise those who sign up. And they're going to give a 20-minute little encouragement coaching time to everybody.
How exciting.
But they can sit in their home. They don't have to meet me in person, go to a church service, or go to they can just sit in front of their computer and be encouraged, be inspired, be motivated, and be educated.
That's fantastic.
So here's the take home, if you will. Your comeback book now is evolving. It's shifting into a bigger help to people.
Yeah.
But to get that, you had to go through that low point, that point that because the whole thing about the comeback is you had to get knocked down to get back up.
John, and I am when I talk to people, I'm honest about my knockdown. I want to help anybody who's going through a tough time, and I believe our entire nation is going through it.
So equate that into, for someone listening right now who you're coming out, you've got, wonderful devices and things you're coming up with that are going to help people. But for somebody who's at that low point right now, they're like, I'm at the bottom. I can't even think that there's a comeback because right now I don't know if my business can reopen. I don't know if I'm sure whenever there's financial stress, there's marriage stress and everything else. What would you say? What would you encourage somebody right now with that small business that they're down on the mat, as you would say?
I'm glad you asked me that, John, because I got a call a few weeks ago from a guy who reached out to me that I knew, and he lost it. Okay, so his business, who he worked with is done. Can't do nothing, and he was pretty broken, not in a good place, not thinking right. I had to talk him off the cliff.
Yeah.
I had to talk him off the bridge.
Sure.
Because I was scared for him. So I started to shift the conversation to not where he's at, but talk to me about your dreams. Before you did what you were doing for the last 15 years, what did you really want to do? And John, all of a sudden you could hear it in his voice, and he started talking to me about his dreams and aspirations that he had before. But because marriage and kids, he had to just put that aside.
You're on some other track now that's not
a whole new track.
Yeah.
And I said to him when he started talking, I said, stop right where you're at. I said, this is your grand opportunity right now to fulfill your dream that you wanted to do 15 years ago. And it was complete silence on the phone. And all of a sudden I heard sniffles. He started to cry. He said, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
I got him to think, what did you really want to do?
Yep.
Now's an opportunity to not do what you have to do, but to do what you want to do. Okay. And we're sitting in a time with the country, with what President Trump did and Congress did. Go ahead and apply for unemployment. Don't get prideful about it. Apply for it. Apply for the COVID help.
Buy some time.
Yeah. You're probably going to make more money than me right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Or whoever. Just do that. Humble yourself and you will be exalted. It'll just get you through a season. And he said, I never even thought it. He never even was thinking about that kind of stuff.
Because you can't when you're in that spot.
Well,
you can no longer think.
We've all sat if you're in a large enough city, in a traffic jam, and you're sitting in that middle lane, you can't go left, you can't go right, and you sit back and just think, I am stuck. I've still got to go to my location, my destination, but I am stuck. And you don't think about the fact I could U-turn maybe, or I could get off at this exit and find a back route to where I needed to go.
Yeah.
But so oftentimes we just sit and get mad and get upset. And I guess our encouragement to you today, if you're there and you're feeling like I'm mad and I'm upset, there are always options. There's always a way to shift
John,
lanes.
Preach. Yeah. I'm telling you, there's always option.
We made the decision. I was going to apply for one of the SBA loans being a single. I wasn't the PPE one or whatever they call it. But I decided after our business picked up, no, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be indebted to the government. I'm just going to roll with this. Other people need it. I don't need to take it, and that's our decision. We're rolling with that under the premise that that's a blessing.
Right.
Why entangle ourselves with more? Let somebody else who needs it get it, and we don't have to pull for it. There's an opportunity to shift. If you're not from a snow climate like we are, you gotta shift the car back and forth and rock it out of the snowdrift.
Yes.
You just can't sit there and spin the tires.
Right.
And I know a lot of people right now are spinning their tires, and it's like, no, you gotta rock the sucker and get it out of the snowdrift. And so use 2020. This might be this is a rocking, shifting kind of thing that's going on. But I'm seeing enough of this from people like you and other friends we've talked to that I'm seeing a lot of people begin to say, you know what, this year is going to end up being a pretty good year because we took the opportunity to say, I'm not going to sit where I've been.
Right.
I'm going to try something new.
John, we got to reset our sails.
Mm-hmm.
The wind is blowing and it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We can just be blown where the wind's blowing, or we can reset our sails as entrepreneurs, as businessmen and women, and go, okay, how can we adjust?
Yep.
And I think that's the key. The adjustment not only starts with your mindset first. If an individual, if a entrepreneur, if a business owner is not going to adjust their mindset, John, they're not going to adjust their business.
No.
So I'm saying,
Ever heard of Kodak?
yeah. Who?
Or Radio Shack, maybe?
No,
Radio Shack?
miss
I know
Radio
that was your
Shack.
Or
favorite.
Commodore 64?
Yeah.
I had one of those.
So did
too.
I had one.
So, real quick, Rob, tell us where your book is, how people can find out more, book you for a gig, and have you come speak.
So a couple things are happening that are pretty interesting because we're adjusting the sales. I am getting invitations to churches, organizations, and they're doing online things. So I'm going and doing an online presentation at their location or even at my location for their organization, for their business, and for their church.
Nice.
Okay.
Perfect.
So that's happening right now. They can invite me to do that. I will tailor my talk, my presentation to their present situation, because that's where we're at in our country.
Yeah.
So it's just not, I'm just not just,
Some generic thing. Yeah.
It's not being generic. I am actually working and tailoring that. I'm also opening up my business to where I'm coaching organizations and individuals to make the shift during this time.
Nice. So where's your book at? Where can we get the book?
Amazon.com, man. Go to Amazon, or you can go to robyanok.com.
The Ultimate Comeback.
Your ultimate comeback. How to get up when life knocks you down. And we're getting ready to do a website for the entire coaching system. But I woke up with just a vision of this, the Ultimate Life, Your Ultimate Comeback Academy.
That's great.
So,
awesome.
And I'm actually working on that right now. So, John, I'll have to come back and we'll have to talk about that.
Love to have you back. If you want more information of media consulting and all the things that we do at Ondo Media, that's ondomedia.com, ONDO media.com. If you're in Central Ohio and would like an awesome cupcake, angelscustomcupcakes.com. They're butter.
Angel, they are the best.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
But until we see you next time, keep living the dream.
Connect with John and Angel via Facebook and Instagram and let us know your thoughts. Marketing, Media, and Cupcakes is a production of Ondo Media.